Today we are privileged to have as our commencement speaker a man who has inspired scores of students who might otherwise have been destined to be high school dropouts. And he has inspired these students to achieve beyond their own expectations. He gave them both a challenge and a dream which you graduates have today fulfilled, namely to earn a college degree. Other businessmen and women across the country, including some right here in Rhode Island, have followed his example and given time, energy, and resources, and joined in partnership with educational leaders in order to improve our schools and the educational experiences of our students. We look forward to hearing his message this afternoon. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Dr. Eugene M. Lang. Mr. Lang.
Governor DePritt, President Guardo, many distinguished guests, and no less distinguished graduates. I'm very grateful for the honor of your degree and for the privilege of participating in your commencement. Your citation brought to mind a line of Euripides in Iphigenia: "Good men hate those who praise them if they praise them too much." Well, don't you believe it? You have gilded the lily, but I love you all for it. When I was invited to speak today, it was suggested that I present, and I quote, "some nuggets of wisdom drawn from experience that the graduates would find inspirational." However, to you Rhode Island College graduates who have surely achieved the omniscience conventionally imputed to college seniors, I feel that even 22-carat nuggets would have little inspirational impact, and my 8-carat offerings would be an absolute bust. Therefore, I decided to talk about the I Have a Dream program, partly because it's been my life's most rewarding experience, but no less because I think it is relevant to the mission of your afterlife that starts today. The I Have a Dream program expresses a principle that all of us share, a principle that every young American is entitled to a genuine opportunity of a quality education, and a corollary that we do not discharge that entitlement merely by undertaking to train young people to meet marginal employment skills. Unfortunately, our public education system, historically oriented to serve a middle-class society, has not yet adapted itself to its radically changed constituency, a constituency that is now almost 40% minority poor and will exceed 50% by the year 2000. In seeking to meet the needs of this primarily inner-city constituency, the system has not been able to satisfy the educational imperatives of a changing job market, or to superimpose on its educational responsibilities the inappropriate roles of parent and policeman. The socio-economic impact of this condition on our country was long ago foretold by H.G. Wells, who wrote, "Human history is becoming more and more a race between education and catastrophe." It was under the ominous cloud of H.G. Wells that the seeds of the I Have a Dream program were inauspiciously planted on June 25th, 1981. Many of you have heard the story, how I was invited to address the 6th grade graduating class of my first alma mater, PS 121 in Harlem. And facing 61 restless 12-year-old Black and Hispanic youngsters, I realized that the embroidered commencement cliches, I hope you won't look at what I'm saying today as more of them, that these embroidered commencement cliches I was about to give were completely irrelevant. I groped for something meaningful to say, and fortuitously remembered Martin Luther King at Lincoln Memorial in 1963 tell the world, "I have a dream." and that memory became my extemporaneous theme. I told the students, each of you, like Dr. King, must have a dream, what you want to be, the kind of life you want to build, and when better to dream about your future than now at your first graduation. Today, I told them, you are starting the most important journey of your life, your journey for education, through junior high school, and finally through college. And the moment I said it, I knew the word college was phony. How many of these sixth grade graduates actually regarded or had any reason to regard college as a credible expectation? And then, a better idea, even before I could consider its arithmetic, it was out of my mouth. Don't think for a minute, I said to the students, that you can't go to college, because you can. A college education is yours, it's up to you, because right now to each of you, I'm giving a scholarship so that when you get your high school diploma and are admitted to college, you will be able to go. The moments that followed were incandescent with delight. With my promise, a college education had suddenly become a realizable dream. The next day, when I sobered up, I asked myself, now what? 6 years from sixth grade through high school graduation would be a long time for a scholarship promise to remain inspirational. And also, according to statistics, at least 75% of these inner city minority students would drop out. Not to mention the tragic fact that even the few receiving high school diplomas would not be academically prepared for college. I had to do something to make the scholarship commitment more than a grandstand gesture. I had to offer a genuine opportunity, and this was the genesis of what has come to be known as the I Have a Dream program. The program is structured on the commitment of a sponsor to adopt an entire 5th or 6th grade graduating class. The sponsor undertakes to fund and devote time to an I Have a Dream project that will keep the class together for 10 years, from elementary school graduation through college. The sponsor hires a full-time project coordinator, a PC, to act as his or her surrogate in building up a personal support relationships with the students, we call them dreamers, and their parents. The project is domiciled in a neighborhood community-based organization, a CBO, so that the operating core of each project consists of the sponsor, the PC, the CBO, and the dreamers. Its program includes a range of academic, cultural, social, and recreational activities, many supported by volunteers and outside public and private agencies. And the interaction of this operating core gives the program a unique alloy of characteristics. To begin with, it enters the children's lives at a critical point, when as elementary school graduates, incipient adolescents, they are about to move into the impersonal environment of departmental education. It enables them to maintain the classmate relationships established during elementary school years, one of the few stable relationships that has entered the lives of these children. And it keeps all the kids together as dreamers, however they may be dispersed during their secondary education. The sponsor, undertaking in effect to parent the group, establishes a stable and enduring relationship that probably for the first time in the lives of these children gives them the combined attributes of power and resources along with affection and concern. In other words, the attributes of middle-class parents. Thus, the program's essential substance is entirely personal. There is no corporate, institutional, or political visibility to imply impersonal or self-serving purpose. The children come first. Each dreamer can come with problems, questions, or just to talk to a human being who is respected, trusted, and whose caring is viewed as committed, sincere, and reliable. And as time goes on, a group esprit and network of peer and parent support develops, along with individual self-esteem and motivation, a reason to work, a reason to stay in school. Each dream, each personal goal is identified and intelligibly defined. Parents and sponsors come to be proudly united in encouraging dreamers to achieve their individual goals. Also important, the program is relatively free-form and responsive to situations. There are no handouts, no hard procedural prescriptions, no ritual reports. It allows ample time for dreamers gradually to accept attitudes and behavior patterns associated with program objectives. Slowly, our dreamers begin to see themselves not as ghetto pariahs, but as members of the total community. At the bottom line, we believe that the desire to attend school and the rejection of antisocial activity are functions of will, not compulsion, of enlightened self-interest, not fear. Now, you will note in outlining program characteristics that I have not mentioned scholarships. The fact is, to the dreamers, the personal elements of program relationships far overshadow scholarship incentives. And this explains why, in my opinion, public education systems and institutional programs cannot by themselves satisfy the educational needs of our disadvantaged youth. Institutions cannot focus their resources to deal effectively with a human condition that requires sensitive and sustained individual attention. They cannot inspire or reciprocate love and respect. Now, I'd like to comment on the I Have a Dream experience from 5 perspectives. First, in terms of individual dreamers, whenever personal crises arose, the affection, trust, and resources of our relationship have really made a difference. Over the years, I've had to respond to questions such as, Mr. Lang, my mother's boyfriend threw me out of the house, where can I live? Mr. Lang, I need a job. Mr. Lang, I'm pregnant, what shall I do? Mr. Lang, my mother and sister go out, so I got to stay home to mind my sister's baby. What do I do about school? And even a phone call, Mr. Lang, it's no use. I'm saying goodbye. I'm going to jump out the window. I need not emphasize the critical personal implications of such questions, the urgent need that they be asked, the significance of I Have a Dream relationships that impels the youngsters to ask them with assurance of a caring response. Second, in statistical terms, against an anticipated dropout rate exceeding 75%, at least 90% of my dreamers will get their high school diplomas by this June, and moreover, against a zero projection or almost zero projection, I expect 2/3 of them will go to college, almost half of them started last September. And a particularly compelling statistic, over the years, 7 of my dreamers became pregnant. Of these, 4 had babies. However, all 7 have their high school diplomas and 5 are going to college. Third, in economic terms, our dreamers in business vernacular are very cost effective. It takes from $250,000 to $300,000 present dollars to sponsor a graduating class of 40 to 80 dreamers for 10 years from 6th grade through college. That's exactly what it costs to keep one youngster in jail for 10 years. More basic, aggregating social support costs, lost earnings and taxes, each dropout burdens our economy with a lifetime cost averaging over $400,000, so that at current levels, each annual dropout class for the entire country accumulates a cost to our nation of $300 billion, which you graduates are going to have to share in paying. Fourth, the way the program has grown and continues to grow. Last June, the 3rd generation of I Have a Dream projects began in New York City, bringing New York's total to 19 projects with over 1,100 dreamers. And during 1987, I was privileged to participate in the initiation of I Have a Dream projects in 12 cities across the country, so that right now we have more than 100, close to 150 individual sponsors who have established enduring personal engagements with over 5,000 dreamers in 15 cities. And the 5th perspective, the inspirational effect the program has had on others in their own way to do something. Hundreds of related initiatives involving many thousands of youngsters all over the country have resulted. And perhaps coincidentally, the biggest step forward, 2 weeks ago, Governor Cuomo of New York, at our instigation, and I've been on his back now for 2.5 years, announced that the Liberty Scholarship Program would in effect assure every high school graduate in New York State a college opportunity. Clearly, the I Have a Dream program has stimulated the country's consciousness of educational priorities. Now, most people, including many who have praised our accomplishments, seriously doubt that the I Have a Dream program can significantly relieve the broad problem it addresses. Certainly, it's impressive to have over 100 sponsors in 15 cities, or even 500 sponsors in 50 cities. However, this hardly deals with a growing population of at-risk youngsters that is now each year discharging nearly 100 dropouts into society, and that's each year. Obviously, major obstacles do challenge the I Have a Dream program, and wise friends often caution me not to over-expect. And before a college audience, I guess one should bow to wisdom. However, a Chinese proverb says that while wisdom is the best guide, faith is the best companion. So with apologies to the wise, my entrepreneurial psyche insists that I travel with faith. I truly believe that the I Have a Dream program can achieve nationally meaningful dimensions. And whether or not I'm over-optimistic really doesn't matter. The present condition urges us to go as far as we can. There's no downside risk. After being hands-on close to inner-city children for almost 7 years, one begins to see why so many public and private efforts, inspired by the noblest of intentions and backed with substantial funding, have only marginally impacted the problem of educating them. And one can commiserate with the many dedicated teachers and school administrators who must suffer the frustrations and waste of their professionalism and compassion. On the other hand, measure the ripple effects in our society of each I Have a Dream project that keeps more than 90% of its minority children in school, with 2/3 opting for college. Evaluate the contagion of enthusiasm and hope as dreamers become role models for their peers in school and for the poor neighborhoods in which they live. To be fundamentally effective, an educational support program must satisfy all of the following objectives. Adjectives: timely, personal, caring, individual, understanding, stable, persistent, adaptive, long-term, motivational, patient, and opportunistic. These adjectives relate to the primary need of our at-risk children, the need for the personal support relationship normally provided by family and parents who are wired into society's mainstream. The I Have a Dream program embodies all of them. To any skeptics, I would argue, in the words of the Bengali poet Rabindranath Tagore, the miracle of each new child, the potential greatness that each child offers the world, is God's way of encouraging us. Right now, over 5,000 dreamers give us the right to feel encouraged. And they encourage me to urge the I Have a Dream concept, and I emphasize the word concept regardless of label. I urge the concept as a delivery system, a matrix for marshaling the diverse resources of the community and focusing them on the needs of its dreamers. Through I Have a Dream projects, government and social agencies can provide or improve accessibility of services. And in this connection, I really think we must applaud Governor DePretty's announced commitment to make public education his top priority. That's where it's going to start. Citizens and civic groups can offer volunteer help and opportunities for cultural and social exposures. Business, among many things, can provide jobs that won't interfere with school. And colleges and universities, with their facilities and expertise, can reach more broadly into the community and farther back into the educational process. Indeed, many colleges are already giving valuable support to local I Have a Dream projects. and the I Have a Dream program offers a fulfilling role for every individual and institution in the community. My friends, the more one thinks about it, the clearer it becomes that education is the pivotal issue of our time. The core of America's defense is not in outer space. It resides in the opportunity we give our children to fulfill their abilities as individuals and responsibilities as citizens. It resides in education. This coming August 28th will mark the 25th anniversary of that day in 1963, when, with the words, "I have a dream," Martin Luther King moved the world to open its heart, to respond to conscience, to know justice. But even now, as we thrill to those words, we know that the agenda of Dr. King's dream has a long way to go. It is an agenda that all of us, that every American must share, especially you who are graduating today, who have the young energies and pure idealism to fight the good fight. Class of January 1988, lead us. Lead us in taking up that agenda by uniting us in the biggest, the mightiest arms race in history. Yes, I said arms race. A race to put our arms around our children, around all of our children, to embrace each of them with love, courage, hope, education, opportunity. Let the imperatives of our arms race establish the nation's priorities, and let these priorities make it clear that missiles can have no legitimate target if their trade-off is the hopelessness of illiteracy, and that Star Wars have no place if their price, in effect, denies any of our children the right to dream. Can we do this? Norman Cousins wrote, "All things are possible once enough human beings realize that the whole of the human future is at stake." Will we do this? Class of January 1988, I submit this as your charge and your challenge. A charge and a challenge to which each of you in your own way can respond and can make a difference. Don't waver, don't wait. Invest your passions, your learning, your energies in your ideals. Dr. Benjamin E. Mays, former president of Morehouse College and mentor of Martin Luther King, summed it up. It must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goal to reach. It isn't calamity to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to dream. It is not a disaster to be unable to capture your ideal, but it is a disaster to have no ideal to capture. And it's not a disgrace not to reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach. For failure, or not failure, but low aim is sin. Thank you.
I think we now all understand why the children to whom Mr. Lang has extended himself not only love him, but are meeting his challenge. And he has certainly given us all here today a challenge worthy of being met.